What is the food like on a Disney cruise? Have you heard it's so good? Do they really have Mickey Mouse shaped waffles? Are you watching this because you have a Disney cruise coming up? I hope so. We are going to let you know what food they are serving and how it tastes on a Disney cruise. We were one of the first people that embarked onto the Disney magic on our cruise. We were really lucky to be first on because when we went up to the buffet for the Embarkation buffet, all the food was fresh and hardly touched. We were able to find a seat really quickly, and it was a really nice experience. It was actually one of my favorite meals on the entire cruise. What a spread they have for us on Embarkation on the Disney cruise. More food than I could ever eat. A really friendly staff, the best staff. The seafood gumbo had a nice medley of shrimp and mussels, I think, were in there. Maybe some octopus or calamari, and there was also okra. The combination of the seafood, the okra, and that spicy red soup was absolutely delicious. I really enjoyed that. I also had a couple slices of prime rib. You walk up to the guy at the buffet line with the large chunk of meat there, and you ask him to cut you off a couple of slices. They had béarnaise sauce on the side, which is kind of like a hollandaise sauce. They also had cranberries. I love cranberries. So the combination of the béarnaise, the cranberries, and the prime rib was perfect. Actually, I just really enjoyed it. So Embarkation Lunch was spectacular to me, and seriously one of my favorite meals on the ship, simply because the food was actually warmer than it was on the rest of the trip. On day 2, our first breakfast of the Disney cruise here, we just picked up this beautiful spread. They have a really big buffet for breakfast. Any breakfast food you would want. Pancakes, hash browns, bacon, corned beef hash, and my favorite, they have eggs Benedict. Been on a couple other cruises, they did not have eggs Benedict. This is really a good thing. The one bad thing is, so far, they have not provided us with any silverware. That is making it difficult to eat. But I think I found a guy that's going to bring me some, so can't wait to dig into this beautiful breakfast. All right, and here's an update on how that breakfast was. They had run out of silverware for, I don't know, about 5 minutes, and we had to kind of walk around and try to... Emily was actually nice enough to get up and walk around and find some silverware for us. I'd give their breakfast well above average in variety and, all the different things that they had. Their hash browns were really good. They had eggs Benedict, like I said, that is like one of my favorite things. But here's the deal, it was cold. They have the capability of making this food hotter. They have burners underneath the plates that you pull it out of, but for whatever reason, they had those things barely on. So all the food was really cold. It was good. I mean, I enjoyed my breakfast, but every day it was just cold, and it was a little bit frustrating at points.
What I had to try at that breakfast buffet was the famous Mickey Mouse waffles. So I had been seeing these. They have the waffles in the shape of Mickey Mouse. I had been seeing things about this before I got on the ship, so I definitely wanted to try it. The first time I went to the buffet, they were actually out, and I had to wait for about 10 minutes before they replenished the supply. I was not the only one waiting. There were several people waiting, and those people were all smaller and younger than me. I let them go first, but then I came in, I got my Mickey Mouse waffle, and I topped it with some whipped cream and some syrup and some strawberries, and it was awesome. I was really happy with that. It made me smile, and it's just kind of a fun way to remind yourself that you're on a Disney cruise. So that was really cool.
All right, we went to Lumiere's restaurant for our first day. My main course was the roasted rack of lamb. It was really good. It was served with Brussels sprouts and mashed potatoes. Here's the thing, although it was really good, it was cold. It was, not even lukewarm, it was cold. I'm not going to complain too much, but maybe I am. I think that the food should be served at least somewhat hot. And I understand that they're serving a lot of people, and that's probably a difficult thing to do, but it does kind of take away if it is seriously cold. What I originally ordered was pasta with lobster. And the waitress looked at me in the eyes and said, "You don't want that." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "I just really don't recommend it. You should order something else. I'll give you that, but I want you to also order something else." Apparently a lot of people didn't like it. Well, I did get both, and the pasta with lobster, as she promised, really wasn't great. It was cold, like everything else, but I mean, anything that has a nice big piece of lobster in it should be absolutely delicious in my opinion, but it was only okay. I didn't eat hardly any of it. I think I did eat the lobster, but I didn't eat the rest of the pasta. And for dessert, I had creme brulee. That actually was really good. It was maybe lukewarm. It wasn't cold like some of the other stuff, and I did really enjoy the creme brulee. All right, next up is the Animator's Palate dinner. It was really cool, a great environment. There's drawings coming to life on the walls. There's Disney movie clips playing that are themed. There's all kinds of lights everywhere, actually changing the color of the entire room. It's a really, really fun environment. The food was good, as you'll find out, but all of it was cold. So anyway, let's get on with it. The first thing I started off with was the baked potato and cheddar cheese soup. Had bacon bits on top of it. If it was hot, it would have been amazing. It would have been awesome soup, but it was cold, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good because it was cold baked potato soup. The ginger teriyaki dusted Angus beef tenderloin. Now that is a mouthful, and it is a awesome description that just makes your mouth water.
I'm about to sit down to the main course of dinner, and it is beef tenderloin, and I'm gonna find out how it is. Absolutely delicious. A little bit cold, which most of the food on this cruise has been. Can't really complain because it's a beautiful experience here. The crew works really hard to get it to you fast, but it is tasty, cooked to medium, which is exactly what I wanted, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm having a blast. The food is delicious, and I'm going to enjoy it.
And it was really, really tasty. Cold, but very, very tasty. All right, here's one of the highlights of all the food that I had on the Disney Magic. It was called the Crunchy Walnut Cake. It did not need to be served hot, so that's a big advantage for anything that was on the Disney Magic. And it was exemplary cake. I could not finish it because it was so rich, but it even had this little chocolate piece that had the Mickey Mouse emblem on it, and it was extremely chocolatey, rich. It had a creaminess to it, and I really enjoyed it.
Hey Ava, we are at the Animator's Palate, and it looks like you ordered the mac and cheese with fries and vegetables on the side. So we just want to know what you think about it.
It says creamy, double, smooth, good.
If you had to rate it between 1 and 10, what would it be?
9.
A 9? Okay. All right, Ava, really quick, we do need to try the vegetables.
Well, when we got on the Disney Magic, we were all pretty excited and we were also hungry, so we headed straight up to Cabanas, where they had an Embarkation buffet lunch set up for us. I decided to go with the lamb chops, asparagus, focaccia bread, and olives. And the lamb chops were really good, but unfortunately they didn't give us any serrated knives, so it was a little challenging to eat, but I managed and I was pretty happy with that. The olives, I love olives, and they had a pretty good variety of olives there. Sometimes I find at buffets they're pretty boring in their olive selection, but Disney did a good job on this. I also went back for dessert and I got some ice cream. And now I'm going to finish it off with this mint ice cream and cookie. Now, if you go on the Disney Magic and you're at the buffet, the ice cream is a little bit hidden. It's in this cooler compartment. There's an attendant behind there that you have to ask for the ice cream, and she opens up a sliding door, and then you can see what types of ice cream they have. It was really good. It was good quality ice cream. Had a nice strong mint flavor. I was really happy with that. They also had chocolate chip cookies in front of the ice cream display, and I grabbed one of those. Now, when I looked at the cookies, I thought this is going to be a great cookie or it's going to be a horrible cookie. It was just, I had that feeling, and unfortunately it landed on the horrible cookie side of things. It was a very thick cookie. and very dry. It tasted almost like it was stale, which is weird because this is the first day, but it was much more of a biscuit than a cookie, in my opinion. The chocolate chips, honestly, it didn't taste very chocolatey. They were there, they were definitely chocolate chips there, but it just did not taste like a chocolate chip cookie to me. So I like to put a cookie on the bottom of my ice cream dish, and then hopefully the ice cream kind of melts into the cookie and has this really nice flavor to it. So sorry Disney, but your cookies don't really cut it.
Head on to Rapunzel's Royal Table. I started off with the Maximus potato salad. It was extremely disappointing. It wasn't because it was cold, it was supposed to be cold. It was just not very good. It was like a cold, just few slices of potato with some cucumbers on the side and something like a bed of carrots, and then a little bit of sauce on it. The sauce wasn't very intriguing. It seemed like it was supposed to be this really fancy dish. It was plated really well. The presentation was nice, but it just didn't taste very good. Next, I had the tangled pasta, which is a green pasta served with sea scallops. It was pretty good. It wasn't spectacular. It was definitely too cold. Cold sea scallops aren't the best. I love sea scallops. I absolutely love seafood and sea scallops. It needs to be served warm, if not hot. So, a little bit disappointed because of the temperature. I know that I say that so often in this video. Overall, it was just average because of the temperature it was served at, and there was nothing too special about the pasta. And we finished off with this chocolate cherry tart dessert, and this is once again one of the highlights. It was absolutely delicious. It was one of the best desserts I've maybe ever had. It was a really, really chocolatey, creamy cake with like a hard chocolate outside that had cherries on the inside and a little bit of whipped cream on the outside of it that you mixed with the cherries. I really enjoyed it. I think everybody at the table that tried it, it was one of their favorites. So if you're going on the Disney Magic, don't miss out. This is one that you want to try.
We were at Lumiere's. This is the dining hall that's themed after Beauty and the Beast. And we're all really excited. This is the one dining hall that does not have a show in it. So it's just the meal. They have some really fancy dishes. The names are really ornate sounding. So I ended up going with the fried goat cheese for my starter, and this was really tasty. It had nice breading. I love goat cheese. Any cheese is good, but goat cheese is particularly my favorite. It's got that nice creamy taste with a bit of a bite, and then it was just covered with a nice breading, so it was pretty good. For my main at Lumiere's, I had the Chateaubriand roasted filet steak. So like I said, lots of fancy names on the menu. This was a steak that had a side of mashed potatoes, and I believe it was green beans, and then it was all covered with like a wine reduction sauce. It was pretty good. Unfortunately, everybody else at my table, we had 3 other people that ordered the same steak. They all ordered theirs medium rare, and I went with just regular medium. That's normally how I order my steak. Normally I'm fine with that. I would have called it well done, maybe very well done. It wasn't super juicy. It was pretty dry. It was definitely cooked all the way through. There was no red in the middle at all. It was only okay. It just had a little bit tougher of a taste than I really would have wanted in my steak. Otherwise it was good. The sauce was nice. The sides were good, but the steak itself was just not that great of a steak, to be honest. We moved on to the dessert. I ordered the strawberry shortcake sundae, and it was exactly what you'd think. It was a strawberry shortcake with some ice cream, some strawberry sauce, and a nice big topping of whipped cream. It was all served in this nice sundae glass. It was presented very well, looked really great, tasted delicious. The weird thing is the spoon that they gave me was too big to actually fit all the way into the bottom of the glass, or maybe I should say the glass was really small at the bottom, so the shortcake piece kind of got stuck inside there, and I had to tilt the glass a bit in order to get it out, but of course it was worth it, so I managed to eat the whole dessert, and it was very delicious. On our second night, we ate at the Animator's Palate. And this was probably my favorite restaurant in terms of variety and interestingness of the dishes. The description of the restaurant was it had an Asian theme with a fresh California flair or something like that. So the one thing anybody that knows me realizes I love squash soup of any type of squash. I always want to try it and see what the flavoring is. I love getting different squashes at the marketplace and figuring out what the flavoring for that particular variety is. So of course I had to try the butternut squash on the Disney Magic, and I wasn't disappointed. It was really tasty. It had some cream drizzled on it. It had a really sweet squash flavor. It wasn't overwhelmed with spices. It was just the squash flavor in that soup, and it was pureed really nicely. There wasn't any chunks of squash in there. It was just a nice creamy puree of soup. So I was really happy with that. It was actually served pretty much almost hot enough. It could have been a bit hotter, but I didn't burn my mouth, so I'm happy. For my main, I ordered the sesame halloumi parcels, and I have to be honest, I ordered this because I had no idea what it was. It just had an interesting name. I don't know what halloumi is. I still don't know what halloumi is. I know what I had, which was a pastry, kind of like a phyllo pastry, like what they make a lot of Greek fruit out of. It's the really thin, paper thin layers of pastry, and this was wrapped up into like a bag shape, and inside of that bag there was the filling. Now the description, I swear it said parcels, plural, but it was just one parcel. It was a decent sized parcel or bag of this filling in there, but there was just one. I guess the sesame halloumi was the filling. It kind of had a curry flavor to me. The description actually said it was tahini. Yeah, so overall a really good dish. It was an interesting combination, something I wouldn't have had at home. So that's one of the things I enjoy on these cruises, is getting to try these different flavor combinations. So that was pretty good. For dessert, we had the crunchy walnut cake. I think almost everybody ordered this at our table. So this was the chocolate cake option for that night. It was an extremely rich chocolate cake. Very sugary, very rich chocolate, and it was a sizable portion too. I mean, sometimes at these restaurants you get a little tiny piece, but this was a nice sized wedge, and it was honestly hard to finish because it was so sugary and so rich. I really enjoyed it. I felt obligated to finish it all because I love chocolate. On our last night, we ate at Rapunzel's Royal Table. I ordered the green asparagus and broccoli soup. I like asparagus, I like broccoli, I was pretty sure I'd like the soup, but when it arrived, it was the greenest, bright green color I've ever seen in a soup. And it makes you kind of question yourself. It's like, is this actually going to be good? It was delicious. It was really good. It had an asparagus flavor that wasn't overpowering. It wasn't just like way too much asparagus, and then the broccoli, I think the broccoli just kind of toned down that asparagus. It was just a really nice blending, and it tasted green, but not minty green, like broccoli green. I don't know how to explain it, but I would definitely try it if you are on Disney Magic. So I also had the Flynn Rider platter for my main dish, an assortment of different pork things. So there was some sliced pork loin, there was sliced pork belly, which is kind of like bacon, and then there was bratwurst. Well, it wasn't bratwurst, but it was like a version of bratwurst, like brockwurst or something like that. And it was all really good. It was a little bit cold. This one, I have to complain on this main, because this one I really think should have been served a lot hotter than it was. And it was still good, but very cold. And honestly, by the end of it, I think I might have enjoyed it more if I just had one of those types of pork and then had something else with it too, and if it had been hotter. But overall, pretty good. For dessert, we had a chocolate cherry tart. And this one, I really liked the chocolate item that I had in Lumiere's. This one, though, I have to say, may I please say, takes the cake, because this was really good. It was a smaller size dessert, and it was kind of had like a spiral thing going to it, and they put a little decorative piece of chocolate on top. When you cut it open, it was filled with this cherry filling. It was so good. It was just the right amount. It was a little bit darker chocolate. It was just the right amount of chocolate, just the right size for dessert. I didn't leave feeling like I wished I had a few more bites or like I had eaten too much. It was just really perfect. So Disney, good job on this dessert. That's definitely a keeper, and if you are on the Disney Magic, I have to say order this one hands down.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end of this video. Why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We do lots of food reviews and travel videos. You're going to love it. We hope to see you again soon.